The telegram arrived at General George S. Patton's desk in November 1943. Sicily had been conquered, but Patton's war was far from over. Supreme Commander Dwight Eisenhower's message was direct. Apologize to the soldiers you struck or face relief from command. According to his aide, Colonel Charles Codman's later accounts, Patton was deeply troubled by the order. America's most brilliant and controversial commander faced a choice that would define the rest of his life and possibly alter the course of World War II. But to understand this moment, we must travel back 3 months to the summer of 1943 in Sicily, where the incidents occurred. August 3, 1943. The 15th Evacuation Hospital near Nicosia. American and German forces were engaged in combat across the island. Patton's 7th Army was competing with British Field Marshal Montgomery's forces to capture Messina. The operational tempo was intense. Patton entered the hospital tent that afternoon during a routine visit to wounded personnel. According to medical records, he moved through the facility, awarding Purple Hearts and speaking with injured soldiers. Medical staff later reported that he appeared genuinely concerned for his men. Then he encountered Private Charles H. Cool. The 26-year-old soldier from Indiana was sitting on a cot with no visible wounds. According to the official medical report filed by Lieutenant Colonel Perrin Long, Patton approached and asked where he was hurt. Cool reportedly replied, "I guess I can't take it." According to multiple witness statements collected by Army investigators, Patton became angry. He reportedly called Cool a coward and struck him across the face with his gloves. Medical personnel present stated that Patton then grabbed Cool by the collar and began moving him toward the tent entrance, saying he wouldn't have cowards in his army. Witnesses reported that Patton drew his pistol and made threatening statements, though he did not point the weapon directly at Cool. Medical staff intervened, and Patton left the hospital. What the medical records show is that Cool had been diagnosed with chronic dysentery, malaria, and severe exhaustion with a temperature of 102 degrees. He was genuinely ill, not malingering. 7 days later, on August 10th, a similar incident occurred at the 93rd Evacuation Hospital near Sant'Agata. According to the official report filed by Colonel Donald Currier, the hospital commander, Patton was visiting wounded soldiers when he came upon Private Paul G. Bennett. Bennett, a regular Army soldier with 4 years of service, was reportedly crying. According to witness statements, when Patton asked what was wrong, Bennett said he couldn't stand the shelling anymore. Multiple witnesses, including doctors and nurses, reported that Patton called Bennett a coward and struck him hard enough to knock off his helmet liner. Witnesses stated Patton hit him again, then drew his pistol and made threatening statements before Colonel Currier intervened. Bennett's medical records indicate he had served honorably in combat and was experiencing what modern medicine recognizes as combat stress reaction or post-traumatic stress disorder. The medical staff at both hospitals filed formal reports through proper channels. According to the official Army investigation, doctors were disturbed by what they witnessed and felt compelled to report the incidents to higher command. The reports traveled up the chain of command and reached General Eisenhower at Allied headquarters in Algiers. According to Eisenhower's memoir, Crusade in Europe, and his official papers, he was faced with a difficult decision. Patton was considered a valuable combat commander, but the incidents represented serious violations of military leadership standards. Eisenhower ordered his personal physician, General Frederick Bless, to investigate. The investigation confirmed the incidents had occurred as reported, with multiple corroborating witnesses. On August 17, 1943, Eisenhower sent a letter to Patton. According to the papers of Dwight David Eisenhower, Eisenhower wrote that he was seriously contemplating relief from command, but would give Patton an opportunity to make amends. The letter ordered Patton to apologize personally to both soldiers, to the medical personnel who witnessed the incidents, and to the divisions of the 7th Army. According to Patton's diary entries from this period, published in the Patton Papers, he was distressed by the order and questioned whether he could maintain his authority after making public apologies. However, he also acknowledged in his writings that his actions had been wrong. The apologies began in late August 1943. According to accounts from medical personnel present, Patton returned to the 93rd Evacuation Hospital and addressed the assembled staff. He reportedly admitted his actions were wrong and asked for their understanding. The response was described as polite but reserved. Patton met privately with Private Bennett. According to Bennett's later statements to Army historians, Patton apologized and he accepted the apology, though Bennett provided few details about the conversation. At the 15th Evacuation Hospital, Patton reportedly made a similar statement to the medical staff and Private Cool. According to available accounts, the reception was professional but not warm. The most challenging requirement was apologizing to the 7th Army divisions. According to multiple soldier accounts collected by Army historians, Patton traveled to various division assembly areas throughout September 1943. At each location, thousands of soldiers gathered while Patton addressed them about the incidents. According to soldiers who were present, Patton acknowledged what had happened and stated that he had been wrong. Multiple veterans later reported that the soldiers responded positively, though accounts vary on the intensity of the response. Some soldiers said there was applause, others described the reaction as more subdued, but generally supportive. By October 1943, the required apologies had been completed. According to official records, Eisenhower considered the matter resolved through appropriate military channels. The incidents remained internal to the Army. However, on November 21, 1943, radio journalist Drew Pearson revealed the story to the American public during his broadcast. According to contemporary news reports, the reaction was intense and divided. Many newspapers called for Patton's dismissal. According to reports in the New York Times and other publications, editorial writers and some members of Congress demanded his court-martial. Various civic organizations protested the incidents. However, other voices defended Patton. According to news reports, veterans organizations and military analysts argued that his combat leadership was essential to the war effort. Many soldiers wrote letters to newspapers expressing support for their general. The controversy created pressure on military leadership. According to Eisenhower's writings, he released a public statement confirming the incidents and explaining that Patton had been disciplined through the required apologies. He defended Patton's value as a combat commander while acknowledging the conduct was inexcusable. In Washington, according to historical accounts, Army Chief of Staff General George Marshall faced pressure to remove Patton, but believed his military skills were necessary for the planned invasion of Europe. Marshall reportedly worked to persuade members of Congress that appropriate action had been taken. According to historical records, President Franklin Roosevelt indicated in private conversations that while the incidents were serious, Patton should remain available for combat duty if he proved effective. The public controversy gradually subsided as other war news dominated headlines. However, Patton remained without an active combat command for several months. According to military records, he spent this time in limbo, uncertain about his future role. In March 1944, according to official records, Eisenhower assigned Patton to command the Third Army, which would participate in the invasion of Europe. Eisenhower reportedly made clear that any further incidents would result in immediate relief from command. When the Third Army became operational in France in August 1944, Patton's performance validated Eisenhower's decision. According to military records, the Third Army conducted a rapid advance across France. Official after-action reports document the Third Army's operational achievements during this period. During the Battle of the Bulge in December 1944, according to military records, Patton's Third Army executed a difficult maneuver, pivoting north in winter conditions to relieve surrounded American forces at Bastogne. According to Eisenhower's later statements, this operation demonstrated Patton's tactical abilities and may have significantly affected the battle's outcome. The slapping incidents, however, remained part of Patton's historical record. In his memoir, War as I Knew It, published after his death, Patton made only brief reference to the events. Private Cool and Private Bennett both survived the war. According to interviews Cool gave to journalists, he stated he had forgiven Patton and held no grudge. Bennett remained largely silent about the incident until the 1970s, when he told Army historians that he had accepted the apology, but that the experience had affected him deeply. Modern military medicine recognizes that both soldiers were experiencing legitimate combat stress reactions. The medical personnel who filed the original reports understood this at the time, which explains their strong reaction to Patton's conduct. Patton died on December 21, 1945, from injuries sustained in a traffic accident in Germany. According to his diary and letters from that period, preserved in the Patton Papers, it indicate he was troubled by the requirement and debated how to respond. Ultimately, according to the record, he chose to comply with Eisenhower's order. The significance of these events extends beyond Patton's personal story. According to military historians, the incidents demonstrated that the military justice system could hold even the most prominent commanders accountable for their actions. Eisenhower's handling of the situation showed that operational necessity did not excuse violations of proper conduct toward enlisted personnel. The apologies themselves were unusual in military history. According to historical analyses, requiring a commanding general to apologize publicly to enlisted men he had wronged was a powerful statement about military values and the importance of the officer-enlisted relationship. According to soldier accounts, many troops appreciated that Patton took responsibility for his actions. The fact that he followed through with the difficult apologies, rather than resigning or refusing, reportedly influenced how soldiers viewed both Patton and military leadership more broadly.
The incident also highlighted the military's evolving understanding of combat stress. The medical reports from 1943 show that Army doctors already recognized that combat could cause legitimate psychological casualties. The fact that medical personnel filed reports and insisted on accountability demonstrated the medical community's commitment to protecting soldiers experiencing these conditions. According to historical analyses, the controversy nearly ended Patton's career at a critical moment in the war. Had Eisenhower relieved him from command, or had Patton refused to apologize and resigned, the Third Army would have had different leadership during the crucial European campaign. While it's impossible to know precisely how this would have affected operations, many military historians argue that Patton's unique, aggressive style influenced the Third Army's performance. The decision to retain Patton after the apologies proved consequential. According to military records and Eisenhower's later writings, the Third Army's operations in France and during the Battle of the Bulge contributed significantly to Allied success. Eisenhower reportedly stated that keeping Patton in command, despite the incidents, was a difficult but ultimately correct decision. However, the incidents also serve as a reminder of the costs of certain leadership styles. According to medical personnel accounts and soldier statements, Patton's extreme approach to discipline and his views on combat stress created real harm. The 2 soldiers he struck were genuinely ill and deserved medical care, not assault. The historical record shows that both men, Patton and Eisenhower, acted within their understanding of duty during this crisis. Patton, according to his writings, believed initially that harsh measures might shock soldiers back to effectiveness, though he later acknowledged this thinking was flawed. Eisenhower, according to his papers, balanced operational needs against the requirement for accountability and chose a middle path that disciplined Patton while retaining his services. The public controversy in November 1943 added another dimension. According to news reports from the period, the American public was divided about whether combat commanders should be held to the same standards as other officers, or whether their battlefield value outweighed other considerations. This debate reflected larger questions about military leadership and accountability that remain relevant. According to historical analyses, the incident also demonstrated the power of the press in wartime. Drew Pearson's broadcast brought a military internal matter into public view, forcing broader discussion and accountability. The military's response, acknowledging the incidents and the discipline imposed rather than denying or covering up, reportedly helped maintain public trust. The long-term impact on military culture is documented in leadership training materials. According to current military educational programs, the Patton slapping incidents are used to teach that all leaders, regardless of rank or capability, must treat subordinates with dignity and respect. The incidents illustrate that tactical brilliance does not excuse abuse of authority. For Patton personally, according to those who knew him, the incidents and required apologies were deeply challenging experiences. His correspondence shows he struggled with the public nature of his discipline and worried about maintaining his authority afterward. However, the historical record also suggests that the experience may have affected how he approached leadership in subsequent commands, though he remained demanding and aggressive in his operational style. The story of these incidents continues to be studied because it addresses fundamental questions about military leadership, accountability, and the proper treatment of soldiers experiencing combat stress. According to military historians, it remains one of the most documented and analyzed leadership failures in American military history, precisely because it involves such a prominent figure and raised such important issues. The resolution, public apologies, retention in command, and subsequent successful operations provides a complex case study. According to analyses, it shows that accountability and operational effectiveness need not be mutually exclusive, and that even serious failures can be addressed through appropriate discipline while preserving valuable capabilities.
This video is based on official military records, published memoirs, witness testimonies, and historical scholarship, including U.S. Army documents, National Archives, the Patton Papers, Eisenhower's memoirs, and works by military historians Carlo d'Este and Ladislas Farrago. Historical interpretations may vary among scholars, and some details, particularly personal conversations and emotional states, are reconstructed from available evidence. Eyewitness accounts may contain variations. We encourage viewers to consult multiple sources and conduct independent research. All sources are listed in the description. This video is for educational purposes and represents one interpretation of documented historical events based on the best available evidence.